Hi guys, Scott Woodward with you. Let's talk about the Newcastle Knights. Of course, they finished 8th last year, just scrambled into the top 8, and expectations are that they'll do a hell of a lot better this year with a couple of their buys, particularly Darius Boyd and obviously the incoming champion coach Wayne Bennett, who has left St George and gone to the Newcastle Knights. And with a coach like Bennett and with a fullback like Darius Boyd, there's a lot of expectation on the Knights to do very well this year, and I certainly think they will. I think they're entitled to be one of the pre-post favourites in a very open 2012 competition. The Newcastle Knights don't have to improve a hell of a lot in attack to go a little bit better in 2012. Last year, they were number 1 for line breaks and they were number 1 for tackle breaks. That's just two incredible stats. So obviously they're doing a lot of things right in attack, but they're not finishing off. They're not completing their sets, and they're not getting over the line and converting that into points. One of the areas where they did poorly last year is they conceded more offloads than any other team in the competition, and that meant that they made a lot of mistakes. They finished number 11 for missed tackles in the competition, so you'll find that that stat will improve a lot under Wayne Bennett. He's very big on defence, and if the Newcastle Knights can maintain their line breaks and their tackle breaks and sharpen up their defence, there's no question that they will be one of the teams to beat in this competition. Let's have a look at their likely 13 for round 1 in the competition. And obviously Darius Boyd, you would think, would be the number 1 in the side, the fullback, given that he's the incoming fullback for Australia when Billy Slater was injured. And he had a fantastic year for St George last year. He seems to be getting better and better. I had a concern about him early in his career, running across the field like a crab, but he seems to have straightened it up a lot more now. And while he's still not a big try scorer, he seems to be getting better at setting up the men around him and setting up a lot of tries for his centres and his wing partners. And there's some very good centres and wingers in this Newcastle Knights side. So he looks like he'll be the fullback. Obviously, Akuila Uate will be one of the wingers. I rate him the number 1 winger in the world at the moment. Just an incredible athlete. What an incredible winger he is. I'm going to be interested to see if Wayne Bennett plays young Kade Snowden on the wing. He's an exciting prospect. Can run the length of the field, got a fantastic little jip, sidestep, very, very difficult to defend when he's in the clear. And I would think he will be in contention for one of those wing spots. It's an opportunity for the coach to play him alongside of his brother, Wes Naiqama, who I thought was one of the outstanding backs for the Knights last year. I think he's a potential rep player. Wes Naiqama fitting well. And to have him fitting well, playing at right centre and have his brother at right wing, that would allow Uate to play on the left wing, and that would knock James McManus out of one of the wing positions, and also Tamana Tahu. I would certainly go that way. Be very interested to see what Bennett does. It's probably going to come down to the trials. Junior Sau will be the favourite for the left centre position. So look, I would have Junior Sau and Wes Naiqama as my 2 centres. Interesting to see what he does with Kade Snowden. It will come down to the trials. We'll see what he does during the trials and at the stage of the year. But watch out for Kade Snowden. I have a very, very high opinion of him. Peter Maiatua obviously will be another contender. CU Licky is another one of the young talents that they've got coming through. So there's a lot of talent in the back line. While inexperienced, there's a lot of talent coming through, and there's a lot of experience in this Newcastle Knights side that will groom those guys. We're talking about the spine. We're talking about Darius Boyd, Gidley, Jarrod Mullen, and of course the old favourite from Newcastle, Buderus, is back in the Newcastle Knights. Although he's got some age on him now, he's still one of the best wingers in the world, and importantly, he's very, very intelligent, and he'll straighten up the Newcastle Knights, which is really important. In one of the areas where they suffered last year, they got close to the try line and they didn't know what to do, and Buderus will help them a lot in that area. I would think that Gidley will be the standoff, the 5'8", and he'll partner with Jarrod Mullen at half-back. Ryan Stigg will be one of the guys that could be a contender off the bench or even a contender to come on and play hooker. But I'm not a big Ryan Stigg fan. Some of the media were saying that he could be anything. Some of the raps on Ryan Stigg were amazing, but to me he telegraphs his sidestep, and I think a lot of the clubs have worked out what he does now, and in the latter part of last year he did do a thing. As a matter of fact, I think he was very disappointing, and I'm surprised that he didn't get cut by Wayne Bennett. Be interesting to see if he lasts the season. In the forwards, I think Evarn Tuimavave will probably be one of the starting props with Kade Snowden, one of the buys. But one of the guns for the Newcastle Knights, Zane Tetevino, I think he will be contender to start. He's very promising, and he's one of the few big promising forwards that the Knights have got. If they have a weakness, I think they lack a gun forward. There's not a superstar starting forward. Danny Buderus, of course, is a superstar, was a superstar. He's way past his best, but I think he'll be very valuable to Wayne Bennett with his experience, his high work rate, and his talking around the rucks. I think he'll be a dead set starter every game, and I think he'll play very long minutes. I think Nev Costigan, a favourite of Bennett's from St George, and Chris Houston will probably be the two second rowers. Matt Hilder, I think, will be a Bennett favourite. He doesn't make many mistakes. He's an outstanding defender and can play 80 minutes and can come on and play hooker. He's a very similar type of player to Young, who he had at St George, and I think Matt Hilder will be used along those same lines. On the bench, look, it's not a bad bench. Joel Edwards, Adam Cuthbertson, Zeb Taylor, Richie Fayoso, got a high regard for Richie Fayoso. All these guys I think will do okay. Some of the promising guys they've got, Ethan Cook, Kyle McDonald, Alex McKinnon from St George, Marvin Filippo and Sam Anderson. I think they'll all get their chances during the year for Wayne Bennett. I think there's a good mixture here between experience and young gun depth coming through, and I'm sure that they'll all be sorted out through the trials. For me, the problem, if there is a problem for the Knights, is they don't have a superstar forward, but Wayne Bennett has proven that with his teams in the past that he tends to have forwards a little bit robotic. They tend to do their job, take the ball, fall down, play the ball very quickly and get the ball out to their first receivers and their second receivers, and that's what they do. So the way Wayne Bennett coaches his sides is probably not a crucial thing, but he certainly has got a very talented forward pack, but not a superstar. The superstars are in the back line. We're talking about Uate, we're talking about Boyd, Gidley, Mullen. This is an outstanding spine, and you combine those guys with the background of Danny Buderus, and it's a very, very, very strong spine, a very intelligent thinking spine, something that a lot of teams need to have. And by that I mean they get themselves in a good position, but they know when to go right and they know when to go left. And I think with the communication of Gidley, Mullen and Buderus, and when those guys get used to working with Boyd, this is going to be a very, very dangerous Newcastle side. I think they're entitled to be one of the favourites in the competition, and I'm sure come the end of the competition, round 26, that they'll be one of the teams that will be striving for a top 4 position. So there it is for me with the Newcastle Knights. If you're a fan, I think you have plenty to look forward to. Have a good season. Cheers.